people, my name is Nicole and today I have my BookTubeAthon TBR for you guys. BookTubeAthon is coming up real soon and they've already announced all the challenges and everything, so I thought I would go through and tell you guys what I'm planning on reading. As usual with my TBRs, I don't post a lot of them, really mainly only for readathons because I am a very mood reader. So some of these are definitely subject to change. Sorry about the lighting weirdness. Natural lighting. But I do have a few that I am reading to specifically correlate with some of the challenges, so those most likely will not change nearly as much. But the first book I will be reading, and this is to fulfill the challenge of read a book with a person on the cover, and that is Lucky in Love by Casey West. I do not have a physical copy of it because it does not come out until Tuesday. So I did check in with my local bookstore, asked to make sure that they would be getting it in, to make sure they order it so that I can go get it on Tuesday and just read it right away. I'm very excited. I love Casey West, and I know that her books are a fairly quick read and that I definitely enjoy them, so I shouldn't have too much of a problem getting through that one super fast. That one may also turn into my read a book in one day and or read a book entirely outside, which, as with many of the other people I've seen talking about the BookTubeAthon challenges, read a book outside seems to be the one that's kind of shaking everyone, including me. I'm not a big outdoors person. Casey West seems like a good book to read outside, partially because it's short and so I don't have to spend a lot of time outside, and partially because she's, you know, summery and contemporary and cute. Anyway, the next book, and this is to fulfill the cover by challenge, is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia. I got this forever ago, like back when it first came out, just because the cover was so beautiful. I mean, I'd heard a couple reviews for it and they weren't negative, they were just sort of, you know, vaguely positive. So I figured, you know, mildly enjoyable, pretty cover, I want that in my collection. Next, and this is to fulfill the read a book about a person completely different from you challenge, is All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. This is about teenage boys, one of whom is black, who are both involved in an instance of police brutality, and then they have to deal with sort of the community reaction and the aftermath of that. So the fact that it's, first of all, teenage boys, I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm like barely not a teenager anymore, but I'm not a teenager anymore, and I'm not a teenage guy, and then also one of the main characters is black. So that's sort of my different. And the next book I have, and this is for the Hyped Book challenge, and that is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This one might be a little bit more difficult to do during the readathon just because it's kind of big, but I've heard so many amazing things about this book and I've had it on my shelf for long enough that I feel like I just need to just finally get it over with and read it. Again, I mean, this one might be a little harder like time-wise just because it's bigger and I tend to read fantasy slower than I read contemporary, but I figure, you know, why not? But again, like I said, I've heard a lot of amazing things about it, and the second book's already out, so if I absolutely love it, I can just go pick up the second one immediately. And then those are all the books I have that correlate with specific challenges, but the last challenge is to read 7 books. So I've already gone through 4 books, and I have 3 more books that are very subject to change based on mood, but here are the ones that I am just planning on getting through. The first one is The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. And this is another one I've heard a lot about. I just have not gotten around to reading it. I've had it on my shelf for a while. And it's also pretty short, so hopefully it should be good for the readathon. Then I have Every Exquisite Thing by Matthew Quick. Again, I've heard really good things about this, and I was just in the bookstore the other day and I picked this up. So I thought it might be a good one to read for this. Again, it's pretty short. And I think I saw that Peyton at Book Howler is also reading this one. And then the last one I have is The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Squirrel Meets World by Shannon Hale and Dean Hale. And I love Squirrel Girl. I just think this would be a really probably fun, quick read. So those are always good for readathons. Size-wise, it's not too bad. It's just over 300 pages. So hopefully this won't take me too long to get through. Alright, so those are all the books I'm planning on reading this next week for the readathon. Let me know what you guys are planning on reading in the comments. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye!